Hi guys, this is Jeff at Slavens Racing. This video is about how to change fork seals on the WP Xplor forks. And those forks were used from 2017 through 2023 on the KTM Enduro and off-road models, but not the race models, so not the XC or the SX models. And then it also applies to the similar models of Gas and Husqvarna models. So this is just going to be a quickie video. I'm here doing a seal change for a friend. These forks are not original. They've got Lucky cartridges inside, but the procedure is the same. The parts are going to look a little bit different, but the procedure is exactly the same. This is a good friend of mine that I ride with, and he's got these, like I said, he's got these Luckies in here because, you know, friends don't let friends ride on junk suspension. So that's why he's got Luckies. Anyhow, we'll get going here. All right, so here's the Xplor fork. I've already loosened this cap. So the first thing you want to do is take that out of there. Get it off. Push the outer tube all the way down, and then remove the spring. Like I said, I don't have anybody here to help me today, and I just want to knock this out since I've got these forks apart. Thought it maybe might help some of you guys a little bit. It's not going to be perfect by any means. Definitely not going to be fancy, but I think it will help you get the job done. I'm not really into the fancy videos anyhow. I know some of the companies out there make some really fancy videos, and that's great, but I don't have time for that. I'd rather spend my time riding. All right, so, and you could pull the spring out. So I just used I don't even know on the stock fork if it's a 17 or not, but that's what it is on this. But you just put a wrench down here on the spindle and then unscrew the cap. Put the spray out, and then you can dump the fluid. I'm just going to wait for that. I'm going to move to this end. And I'm going to remove this base valve, which is down at the bottom. Sometimes you gotta either push or pull on the cartridge. I'm sitting with the fork down here, and I'm pushing on it just to keep some pressure up this way so that the cartridge doesn't spin, and so this comes out. And this definitely looks different than yours. This is a hook valve. It's a half stop. Okay, so from there, cartridge comes out, and just set that aside. You're not messing with that today, you're just changing the seals. And I've got soft jaws here, so it's not doing any damage to the dropouts. These are called the dropouts right here, these MPs. The next step is to remove this seal. The next thing is to remove the circlip, holds the fork seal in, and I've got a special tool for doing that, but for this video I don't think you guys have special tools, so I'm not going to do it without. You can just use a small little screwdriver like this, a flat blade, and you can pop that out. So I'm rotating it so I can find the ends, and one end has an angle that's hard to grab, and the other end has an angle that's easy to grab. So there you go, pull that out. All right, from there, you should take a torch and heat the area that the seal sits in. So the seal sits right in this part of the tier. And you should use like a butane propane torch, something like this, and heat that area. I realize that this is out of fuel today, so I'm just going to do it without it. That's not the best way to do it. And the reason we heat them is we want that seal just a little bit soft so that it pops out easier. But you basically use this like a slide hammer. There you go. All right, from there you just take a flat blade screwdriver. You find the ends of this big flat bushing, and you, of course this is slimy, so, and you just stick the screwdriver in and pry that open a little bit, pop the bushing off, set that aside, pop the next one off, and then here's the flat washer that goes against the seal. The seal. Circlips. This circlip actually probably should be replaced. It's getting pretty rusty looking. And then down here you want to slide up the dust seal, take it all the way off. All right, from there you just want to clean the tube real well. And you want to inspect it for damage. So quite often you'll get dings. The front tire picks up rocks, and they throw them up onto the backside of the fork tube. So the backside of the fork tube will get a lot of little dings in it sometimes, and those little dings will chew up the seal and cause a seal failure. So you always want to check that. So I usually take a little piece of Scotch-Brite and run it up and down the tube, because sometimes I can feel a little burr on there that I can't see. I'm old, my eyes are not as good as they used to be. Anyhow, you don't want to just really wail on it and scratch up the tubes or anything, but just make sure that tube's in good shape, and if there's not some burr on there, and you can, like right here, I'm feeling something. Right in here, I just felt something. I can't see it, but I can feel it. So I'm gonna buff that out of there. Okay. So make sure there's no burrs on there that will destroy the new seal that you're putting in. Also, you should clean the inside of this with some contact cleaner or carburetor cleaner. Clean out the inside of the tube. And you always want to take a rag and reach up in the bottom part here, because that's where all the grunge settles. So the sludge, we got a little bit out of there, not much. But that's where it kind of settles. And so that's what you're after, is to get that out of there. Okay, and then this is an old seal installation tool I have from way back. It's a WP brand. It's been damaged over the years, but it still works. We sell these. I don't know what they're cheap. I'm going to say they're $10 or something. They're cheap, and you really need this to change the seal. Right from there, hopefully you ordered some high quality seals from slavensracing.com, because that's what we specialize in, is high quality products. We don't specialize in Chinese garbage. So these are SKF seals from Intech. They're a dual compound seal. So you want to take in all the seal kits. When we sell you a seal kit, we include a complimentary little tub of seal grease with it. We're the only ones who do that. No other retailer gives you a complimentary tub of grease, but it is complimentary. So I don't know, maybe once every year or two, we might run out for a few days and not include it. So don't get, your undies in a bundle if that happens. But we typically give you a free complimentary thing of seal grease. You just want to put a bunch of it in here, especially in the little, I don't know if you can see it, but there's a little groove down in here. So you want to kind of pack some of it in there. We also sell seal grease on our website if you just want to have some extra. Okay, now the spring, the part that has the outside spring goes towards the bottom. Slide that on first. I don't have a new circlip in stock here, and this circlip is still functional, it just looks bad. I'm going to scrape some of the crud off of it here, and I'm going to reuse it. And you know, you could even sand on it some, whatever you want to do. Or we also sell these. Pretty common for them to get it rusted up. Okay, from there you got to put it on. So that's the dust seal now. We're going to work on the oil seal. Grease it up real quick here. And then on it, same thing. The outside spring goes towards the bottom. Slide it over. Now it's time to remove this tool here. And this washer goes up against the seal. And when you're slide hammering apart, if they come apart hard, this washer will get distorted. It will get cupped. And all you got to do is, like on your vise or something, just take a brass hammer or something like that and flatten it back out. These do not have to be perfect by any means. They just butt up against the seal. All right, from there you want to inspect the bushings. Now, I recommend that when you're ordering seals that you order bushings. Because if you don't need them this go around, you're going to need them on the next go around. So I'm going to inspect these real closely. And I'm mainly, so this has got a Teflon coating on the inside. I'm mainly looking to see that that coating's intact. If it's scratched, if it's starting to peel up, if it just looks really worn, well then they should be replaced. That one looks good. I'm going to do the same thing on this one. Okay, let's see, I'm going to back up in this again. So, guys quite often look at the wrong part of the bushing. The inside rubs against the tube. That's really all you're concerned about. The outside, if it looks a little scuffed, that doesn't matter. That's the opposite on this one. The inside of these will look scuffed, as you can see here. The guys think that that means they're worn out, but no, it does not. You're interested again in the Teflon coating. And every once in a while, you can see a little fragment of aluminum material that's shed off of the internal parts, and it gets stuck in there, and you can pick that out with your fingernail. This bushing looks perfect, so I'm going to reuse it. Slide it down to where it pops in that groove and rotates. I'll cover up the grease because grease has a way of attracting dirt or parts flying through the air. And I'm just going to wipe off some of the excess grease. You don't have to get carried away with it or anything. Now it's time to stick it into the outer tube. So I'm going to inspect the outer tube quickly. I'm going to clean this area up here where the seal fits. The groove has got rust in it. And I'm going to stick the rag in there and try to, wipe some of that out of there. And I'm going to look down inside here to make sure that the bore looks good, that it's nice and shiny, it's not scarred or anything. And then you also want to inspect the outside, because I highly recommend on pretty much any of the modern motorcycles to put some type of a fork guard on them. I use carbon fiber ones. We've got some plastic ones that work well. But these are thin. They got to be fairly thin so that the fork has some flex to it. Otherwise, you wouldn't like the way it rides. And so being thin and being aluminum, they'll dent fairly easily. And if, like your buddy in front of you riding a big bore, and he throws a bunch of rocks at you and it hits these tubes and it dents it, it's basically junk at that point. You can look on the inside and you can see the damage on the inside, and then you'll also be able to see the damage it does to the bushings. So inspect your parts carefully. All right, now this is ready to go back together. Slide it in, I'm going to turn it around, and You don't have to do it this way, but I always like to drive the bushing and the washer down in there first, just to make sure it's seated properly. I like to hear that sound. It just tells me that it's metal to metal, it's bottomed out, it's seated. All right, now I'm going to push the seal down. You need some type of a seal driver. We have these, they're not expensive. You can hear the sound change there when it bottomed. Now it's time to pop the clip back in. Okay, you want to hear a clicking sound. Yep, and I'll usually take and I'll push on the end, the blunt end of the clip. And if it doesn't want to budge, that means it's in the groove. Okay, from there you just use this as a slide hammer to drive the wiper in. You can also use the seal driver if you have one that fits correctly and doesn't damage the spring. But it really goes in just that easily. All right, from there, I'm just going to look at this real quick. Make sure there's nothing obviously going wrong here. We got a little. Now you want to make sure you get all that fluid out of the cartridge. Make sure nothing's coming apart around here. Everything looks good, so this is going back together. Okay, but this particular fork, if you're lucky, so the spring spacers need to go to the bottom. Right, so this end is like a hexagon shape. So it doesn't just fall into the bottom. You gotta line it up. So I'm gonna push a little bit on this end, feeling down in here with my finger, and I'm gonna guide that in position. And you'll know when it's in position. I also want to make sure there's not any dirt down here like there is. The black piece is the cartridge. See, you can see that that's where it needs to be. That's the end. It needs to be all the way up in there. At that point, you're ready to put the base valve back in. This is called the base valve. All right, from there, you want to tighten this. So I put it back in the vise. For you torqueaholics that are having a stroke about right now, maybe you should look up that number and see what it is, because I've done thousands and probably tens of thousands of forks in my career, and I've never torqued one of those. But if it makes you happy, you should do it. All right, from there, it's ready for some oil. All right, so the cartridge is completely empty, so it's going to take almost a full bottle, not quite. And for these forks, this is the best fork oil there is. It's blood. It's expensive. It's 30 bucks a bottle, but it's fantastic. It's very slick. It holds up extremely well. Cheaper oils, what happens to cheaper oils is they wear out quickly. They don't get dirty or anything like that. They just wear out to where your damping changes. They'll also tend to fade easier when the fork gets hot. All right, so from there, we've got to bleed the cartridge. So we got to get some oil in there. And I fill it within about an inch from the top. And then I'm going to let this drop down. And I'm going to put my hand over the outer tube. And I'm going to put my foot down here on the fork tube. I'm going to pull up on this, and it's creating a vacuum. You can also do it the other way. All right, so that's sucked all that oil right down in the cartridge. It looks empty in there again. Let that drop. Okay, looks empty in there again. Third time should be the charm. Okay, I'm going to do that once more. Empty it again. Okay, push the rod down, putting my hand over the fork tube, and then I'm pulling up. So it's going to creates a big vacuum. Then I'm going to check to make sure that cartridge is full by pulling up on the damper rod. And I can tell it's full because when I pull up, it's got a consistent feel from bottom to top. If it's got air in there, it will pull up part way and then it will jerk on you because there's air. But this thing's full. No air. I've got a fork oil level tool. I've had this thing for 30 years. I don't even know if they still make this, but we sell some inexpensive ones on our website that work very well. I'm going to set this, I've already set this at 110 millimeters, which is where I want it for this particular setup. Okay. Now it's ready to go. So from there, you just pull this up, drop the spring on, like that. And I kind of reach through the coil and push on the spindle to keep it from sliding back down while I put the cap on. All right, from there, tighten it down. Okay, from there I'm going to put this back on the vise and tighten this. And then I'm going to set the clickers, and it's ready to go. It's really that quick and simple, guys. Fork changes, after you've done them once or twice, you'll feel like you've done 100 of them. So I believe that's about all for now. If you have any questions, please post them down below the video in the comments section. I always answer reasonable questions. If you want to be a jerk, go somewhere else. I'm not going to answer your question. I'm going to delete it. Or if you want to use foul language or racist comments or whatever, well, I'm going to delete you and block you from the channel. So please be kind, not only on this channel, but in life. And I hope to see you out on the trails. Please like us on Instagram and Facebook, subscribe to us on YouTube, and get out for some throttle therapy. That's all for now.